Welcome back to episode 2 and working day 2 of our playthrough of Recycling Centre Simulator. So we left off the last episode having completed a day's work, and at the moment you've joined me halfway through negotiating some scrap deals. Just to kind of build up some initial content, I'm going to try and upload more than one video per day. And the approach that I'm going to take is to take all the available scrap deals and fit them into that working day. Okay, so as always, if we are taking the scrap deals, we should never have to pay full price. Trying to drop it by $30 is always a good rule of thumb. Once we've done the bargaining, we can take the deal. And again, just to quickly recap, each of these scrap deals will detail the amount of different recyclable materials that you can collect. And so if you have an order to fulfill, then you should really focus on that particular type. And of course, that is most relevant to the machines that you've got in your yard in terms of what you can process. So we know that we've got a paper processor, so we know we can process paper. And the aim of each of the working days is to hopefully increase our reputation level, and so therefore open up the options available to us. You did also miss that I recruited a sorting worker. So Kieran here will cost us $30 a day, and he will empty all the recyclable materials from our truck. And if we ask him to, he'll also sort them as well. So we'll see that a little bit further on into this video. So we have one day left to get to all of these sites and collect the scrap. The working day goes up to 9 p.m. So as long as you get to each of these sites before 9 p.m, you can fit all that in. If you get there at 9 p.m, then the time stops ticking and you can continue. So the clock stops ticking at 9. What you can do is you can do all of your process related stuff in that time period, which is a really good approach. So I do apologise if you are with me for the whole series, if there's a bit of repetition as to what I'm explaining. And if you'd like to watch the videos in sequence, then in the description I will have said which episode it is, and at the start of every video I will also say the same. I'll say which episode it is. So I will still talk through what I'm doing without going into masses of detail, and hopefully pass on some useful hints and tips whilst trying to land some shots. Oh, that was close. So just to recap in terms of the channel, it's a new channel and I have just started to upload some PS5 content. And that for the moment is going to focus on Recycling Centre Simulator. Easy for me to say. It's going to be a series capturing a full working day where we progress through the game. And I am recording this in real time from my home, so hopefully not too much of the background noise picks up on the microphones, but we do have some pets, one of which is an African grey parrot. So if you hear any unusual noises, don't panic, my house isn't on fire. He just would quite like to be involved in my commentary, and I hope that doesn't interfere even too much with your viewing pleasure. I will try and do the videos at times of days where hopefully it's a little bit quieter. So in that respect, I have done the tutorial and started again now, I think 3 or 4 times. So I'm very familiar with that, because when I listened to some of the original videos back, it was actually quite disruptive. And picking that up in sequence and remembering what you said can be quite tricky. So here we are, and we've started again. We are on episode 2. Again, recording the audio in real time. We do enjoy the simulator games, as I say, because you really get the best of both worlds. If you've only got half an hour spare in your day, then you can do it a working day and kind of progress. But it's also quite relaxing through its repetition. And so if you've got a little bit more time, you can kind of grind through the various levels. As well as this game, I've got quite an extensive catalogue on the PS5. Very fortunate in that respect. And also a PlayStation... the bag's full, should have emptied that before. A PlayStation Plus subscription. So if there are any games that you are interested in scoping out before you splash out your hard-earned cash, pop that into the comments, and if I can, I will do a brief review video or even a playthrough. You never know what it's all about, what people would like to see. So if there are other series that I can set running, I would do so, but I am not by any means a full-time YouTuber. I'm fitting this into and around my working day and family. Not that it's a great chore to play video games, so I'm doing something that I would already do, and the reason that I'm not doing any extensive editing is because really and honestly that's where all the time gets taken. And I have got another channel, if you're interested, that is not gaming content. It's a bit of a departure from this. It sounds a bit odd, but it actually relates to barbecuing and some other products and some kind of mini breaks and things that we've been on where I've captured a bit of footage, because I think YouTube is a really useful tool when you're interested in something to see a kind of honest opinion of what you're going to be spending your money on. So as well as making the content, I also watch quite a bit of it. Okay, so we've gone around the site. We can see that we've got 100% completion rate in this area. It means we can pop in the van and go off to the next job. Time-wise, we are at 4:20, so we should be able to get 3 sites cleared in that time. As I've said in, I believe, video number 1, your van has the capacity to do 3 or 4 different sites, so you don't need to worry too much about those kinds of upgrades from the outset. Similarly, as you go through the reputation levels, you will open up some other different options so that you can increase your bin bag capacity. You can also unlock, I believe, a trash radar. So you've probably seen as we've gone through this that as we get close to our recycling, it glows the colour, which is the type of product that it is. And so the radar, you can basically press a button and it will highlight everything yellow, making it much more visible. Personally, I think the best use of our cash, certainly early game, is upgrading the yard, particularly the machines. So by upgrading the yard, I don't mean the capacity, because again, with clever placement, you can fit a number of machines into what's already there. So as long as you leave yourself with enough dollars to take those scrap deals, then you don't really need to build up a massive bank balance. Certainly not early game. And on the other playthroughs, I'd probably played somewhere in the region of kind of 10 hours. And so I'd unlock some of the options, but not all of them. My partner is also a keen gamer and loves the simulator games, and she's invested a few more hours into this. So she's got little robots that go around and get the goods onto pallets and whatnot. With that being a simulator game, what I would say is that doesn't really detract from the experience. So although you're buying a simulator game basically to perform tasks, and you know that repetition and the efficiency of trying to get the best operation that you can, it just means that you can take more on. So you can unlock paid staff that will go to different sites and do what we're doing here for you. That being said, as you progress through the game, you can purchase a lockpick, which will mean that you can get into some locked storerooms throughout these sites, and they will generally have more recycling materials than you've paid for, and in some instances even a crate that contains gold bars worth $200. So that's well worth doing. I have also experienced sites where there is a locked till. Oddly, one of the game's mechanics is that you can pick it and take the cash out of the till. So you can basically break and enter, you can steal, and you can flout every kind of employment law guideline that there is by having your paid staff work well beyond the 9 p.m. deadline. Thankfully, it's not real life. And I do think, in that sense, just to follow on from that, it's got a nice pace, it's got a nice progression. So early in game, as you'd expect, you probably progress through the progression or the reputation levels a little bit faster than you would later on when the contracts become a little bit more difficult to fill. And yeah, you're having to do more processing and labour essentially. So we're at 7 p.m. in game time, 2 hours to get this done and on to the next job. You can see here we've got a piece of scrap there that we can pick up. Our bin bag is full. So we'll drop that, get that in. Hopefully that gets us there or thereabouts with 100%. So we're missing some glass somewhere on the site. Now, you don't have to collect every piece of scrap. So sometimes it is a balance, particularly because I'm making a series here where I'm capturing a full day. It's finding that balance between finding everything and being able to get to all the sites within that timescale. So ordinarily, I wouldn't leave a site without 100% completion, but I am conscious that I need to fit these sites into my working day. So we can't obviously see what we've failed to collect here. And it's very rare that any of the stuff, there it is, excellent. It's very rare that anything would be behind the sites. It's usually within an easily identifiable kind of radius. So let's get ourselves onto the third and final site of the day. And this one is spread out a little bit more, so we're going to adapt our approach. So this is over 3 floors, and there's a combination of smaller stuff that we can pop into our bin bag and larger stuff. And what I don't want to be doing is spending loads of time going back and forth to the truck. So we're going to take a slightly different approach this time and throw our recycling nearer to the entrance there, so that once we've done that, we can do it all in one go. Now, the only downside to that is that only the materials that are in your van will show on the completion area, which you can see there in the top left. So at the moment it looks like we haven't collected anything. But this approach works quite well in terms of efficiency, and of course once we've filled our truck we'll be notified of anything that we've missed. So it's quite a nice mechanic that as you get near to the scrap it lights up a little bit better. And going back to what I said before, it's a good kind of gameplay loop, pace and balance of those tasks. We've been through quite a number of simulators and they do really range quite a lot in quality and content. So, you know, everybody's a little bit different and to an extent you do get what you pay for. So I would just say, oh, that was a good shot. You do, the PlayStation Store seems to be quite active with, I don't know how to say it other than copies, cheap copies. So it's worth reviewing what you're looking at, and if that involves one of my videos, fantastic. But I'm aware that my channel probably doesn't come very high up the algorithms, but it's always worth having a look and spending a little bit of time just having a look into the game that you're buying. Because we can read the reviews and, you know, that is, you would hope, mostly real people, but that can be kind of really subjective. So I've read reviews of things where there's one particular mechanic that people just couldn't get along with, and then I've played the game and gone, you know what, for me that's fine. Whereas if I watch a YouTube video, then there's various different types of approaches, aren't there? So you get the reviews that talk about the general mechanics, you know, gameplay, graphics, all that kind of stuff. And you get playthroughs where there's no kind of audio at all. You get some walkthroughs, and it's really about the type of game, I suppose, in that if you got like a puzzle game, something like that, I wouldn't be too eager on watching a walkthrough, especially if it's one of those that's kind of a one-time event, for want of a better phrase, where you buy a puzzle game. Once you know how to solve them, there's not really any replayability. And so I quite like to have a kind of broad review of the game. And you know what, sometimes both my partner and I watch gaming content just as kind of background, or I suppose to an extent a type of ASMR. So if you're not familiar with that, there are videos that are designed to relax you, and sometimes you don't want to engage massively. You know, your brain doesn't with what you're doing. It's a bit of background. So I hope I am ticking a few boxes here for some potential viewers and viewers in the future. We'll be reading all the comments, so any feedback you can provide me is gratefully accepted. And as I say, I am open absolutely to looking at other games and recommendations, and of course any hints and tips that people or experiences that people who have the game themselves can pass on. Okay, so our van is getting filled up nicely now. I might have not done myself any favours here. Is there a crouch button? I suppose it's good for the purposes of the video to show that actually in some occasions the game mechanics, so there is some rolling and stuff like that and some gravity. If you, like me, through that somewhere where you can't reach, then sometimes you can't get the 100% completion of collecting all your products. Oh, that's a shame. Again, ordinarily I would probably be here for quite a while making sure that I did collect this. I'm very conscious that I'm making a video. Ah, there we go. I got it. not quite 100%. There is something, some organic waste somewhere that we've missed. So let's have a little look. I won't spend too much time because I want to be able to, in this video, get our recycling processed. So if you do work beyond 9 PM, you can switch your torch on with the up button on the directional pad. And I will just have another look around the site. Otherwise, there we are. I don't think there's a falling damage mechanic. No, okay, so good there. So we have collected all the scrap from all our sites. We fitted 3 jobs into a day, and we can now head back to the yard because we can do all of our process related stuff outside of those normal working hours. What I'm going to do for the sake of this video, just to keep it to a nice length, is I'm going to ask Kieran here. Oh, I asked him to sort the waste. There's none there. If I open the doors, Kieran will start loading the materials onto the sorting machine, and then going to start off the next video at the end of this working day, where we shall ask Kieran to actually go and sort it. Because as I say, we can increase our reputation level a little bit, not a great amount. And so rather than rushing through all of the processes or making unnecessarily long videos, what I shall do is I'll start day 3, as it were, where we've sorted through those goods, and we'll set about processing them. So again, I could just quickly recap how we fulfill contracts, how we can sell the materials for cash, and then we'll pick up there, and hopefully we'll have an increased reputation level, and I can show you some more of the game's mechanics. If you've been with me for the series so far, thank you very much for your time. Hope you can stick with me for future videos. If it's the first one you're watching, I will be running them in sequence, and I hope you'll stick with me. I'll finish by saying, as all YouTubers do, that subscribe button really does take a second to hit and helps me out massively. It's free, so why don't you give it a go. See you in the next one.